How do Italian women treat black men? One of life's biggest questions, right? Well, according to YouTube, it is. So I'm gonna make another one of these videos. Once again, this is more of an informative video for passport bros. This is a group of men who are of the mind that their ideal mates are overseas. So I just want to give my experience and viewpoints with regards to dealing with Italian women. Now, I know this is a type of video that a lot of new people will search for, so I just want to make it clear, especially if you're Italian, this is no disrespect to your culture or your people. Everything I say in this video is a massive generalization, so please do take this video with a pinch of salt and understand that everything I say in this video is just coming from my own ignorant mind, okay? So approach this video with an open mind, please. Fun fact, man, one of my favorite porn videos when I was a teenager was this badly dubbed Italian film by a very famous producer, actually. So I would like to think perhaps I got some sort of imprint from a young age with regards to Italian women. I've been to Italy twice, and I've worked with a lot of Italian people here, so I would like to think I have a good bearing of how Italian women generally will treat black men. So, Italian women generally come across as cool and trendy, you know, very fashionable, very chic. I think Italy has a striking mix of traditional versus a liberal mindset. You know, there's a classical north-south divide in Italy that Italians will tell you themselves, and usually it's that the north is more prosperous and more quote-unquote forward-thinking, and the south is more poorer and less economically savvy. It almost sounds kind of tribal. Sometimes that is also based on some form of colorism as well, as the south tend to be darker. So jumping into the looks, expect a sultry Mediterranean-like look that I think a lot of you brothers really like, akin to, I guess, Portuguese, maybe some sort of North African look, dark hair, dark eyes. When you go north, you know, you can find very blonde and blue-green-eyed Italians too, so keep in mind of that. I've rarely seen an Italian woman that is obviously obese. I think the fitness culture is generally high, but more importantly, there's a culture of good eating. So we all know the world famous Mediterranean diet, olive oil, whole grains. I believe it's Italy that has one of the highest lifespans, and that's probably based on their diet. So yes, of course you can find shapely women. From my viewpoint, they tend to be more on the short side, and I guess bodies in line with the normal stereotypical quote-unquote European standard. When it comes to attitude, with the Italian women that I've dealt with in the past, very passionate and a very sexual demeanor, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's like a very astute and emotional, intelligent approach. I think given that Italy can also be quite traditional, I think there is a culture of shame when it comes to quote-unquote easy women. So a lot of women try to protect themselves of that label, and that's where it translates into someone who's emotionally intelligent with high intuition when it comes to passion. You know, there's also a stereotypical attitude of being feisty sometimes, which could also lead to a very independent type of personality. And another stereotype, which I found to be kind of true with the people that I've met, is that generally speaking, the culture is quite extroverted. So Italian women tend to go out for coffees, go out for wines, you know, go out to eat, at the bars, at clubs, you know, quite culturally extroverted, you know, used to being out there doing things. Now, in relation to black culture, now this is where there's a great contrast when it comes to the traditional and the liberal divide. You know, when I went to Rome, I caught a few negative stares, especially if I was with a white lady. And this is something that I've documented on in the past, especially versus other Western European countries. I think culturally, there's a general frown upon dating black people. unfortunately. And so I would say that you need to approach with caution if you want deeper relationships with Italian women. I remember there was a poll which was based in Europe, which was, I mean, it's a stupid poll. It was asking what percentage of people in European countries favor relationships with black people, and I believe Italy was one of the lowest in comparison to Western Europe. And you know, this is part of the purpose of videos like this, is to not to deter you. I want you to experience, but to just give you a viewpoint that some people might be too proud or maybe even too unaware to realize. But then on the flip side, you have the very modern, forward-thinking type of Italian who almost wants to go against her culture. And for me, that can be a red flag, because you know, she might be basically using you for her kind of rebellious, going against the norm endeavors. But I mean, this is fine if you just want something casual, but if you expect something long term, then you need to prepare for the end. And you know, with the recent African immigrations, which a lot of it appears to be illegal, coming in from North Africa, you know, African immigrants also adds to the unfavorable stereotype. Generally speaking, Italians are proud people, and you know, they see themselves as the spiritual founders of Europe, a la ancient Rome. So understandably, they have a greater appreciation for their own culture over others. Therefore, it stands to reason that they'll prefer their own people on a deeper level. Now, when it comes to parents, in a sentence, man, they don't F with you. You know, the parents typically very traditional, most likely against immigration. And, you know, this is to be expected from foreign traditional older generation people. When I was in Rome, I remember seeing a lot of adopted black kids, like Balotelli, the football player. He was an adopted Ghanaian, I believe. But when I saw these families in the streets and I looked at the parents, I got this weird vibe. It was almost as if it was a fashion statement to have these kids around. You know, it was as if the parents seeing me, a non-disheveled, modern black man, you know, self-reliant, self-capable, it was as if that was an insult to their moral compass or their ego, where it seemed like, and again, this is just a hunch, this is just intuition, but the vibe they gave me made it seem like it was as if they felt black kids will only become good, upstanding citizens if they were raised by white people. So it was a generally weird energy, weird vibes that I got from seeing those families. When it comes to education, yeah, you know, highly educated as to be expected from a European country. But of course, this most likely means there is a strong and independent persona. So don't be expecting an Italian woman to want to live under you and to be all quote unquote submissive without having her own aspirations and goals and, you know, career. You know, don't be surprised if she wants to pay for the drinks or pay for the coffee, pay for the date. A lot of Italians studying and working here in the UK, so of course a high level of education. And to conclude this, man, I mean, you know, the accent will tickle your ear. Hearing the pride that Italian women have for their culture and food, it may excite you, and it may make you wish, damn, maybe you know, I wish I had the same pride in my culture, you know, the same kind of deep roots that they tend to have. But the culture, the Italian culture, largely is not open to interracial dating. I'm just going to say it like that. Italians are pretty proud people, generally speaking. And, you know, sometimes with that pride comes viewing other people as lesser than, you know, especially when I see people who look like you, who are negatively affecting the economy, when the Italian economy itself is amongst, not the weakest, but one of the lowest when you compare it to the rest of Western Europe, you know, so there's going to be some strife and bitterness. So generally speaking, unfortunately, for some, particularly those who are venturing out to look for wifey material, this is probably going to only be good for a casual thing. And to be honest, that will most likely be mutual. She will most likely not want to carry the burden of being with a black man. especially knowing, Italians know very well the mentality, the much more traditional Italians back home. Like when I came back from Italy and I mentioned to some of my Italian friends about some of the negativity and the closed-mindedness, they weren't surprised at all. It's just a shame that they didn't advise me before I went, And so this is the aim of this video as well, is to give you a little bit of intel before you go out with nothing. So these are my views on how Italian women treat black men. What are your views? Am I totally wrong? Have you been to Italy? What was your experience? Are you perhaps married to an Italian woman? Please do write down your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to this channel if you like similar content. But for now, it's your boy Falcon Black out. Peace.